9 months ago, I was in a different house at the time and everything. I covered an article about some Naughty Dog developers actually being hospitalized, literally working such astronomical hours that they just couldn't hang anymore. There are two co-presidents, who's Evan Wells and Neil Druckmann. They sat down with Game Informer and they addressed some of the concerns. And basically the consensus is, in the words of Kotaku, that leadership doesn't seem to get it at all. Now, I didn't really get that, and it feels like Kotaku is kind of stretching for an article here because it really didn't seem like Neil Druckmann and Evan Wells were not getting the fact that their workers are overtaxed. What they were saying is that it really isn't their responsibility. They're not forcing them to do this. What happens a lot of times when these crunches happen is that it's almost peer pressure. They see their coworkers working extra hours and whatnot. It's not like Neil Druckmann and, the top brass over there is forcing them to do that or threatening them by losing their jobs. Kotaku kind of took that as, well, they just don't give a shit. The CEO, CFO, the high-level executives at Naughty Dog don't really care. I don't really think that's the case, but I'm going to go ahead and read some of these highlights because, well, I already took the time to highlight it. I might as well learn how to read. Development studio Naughty Dog, who by the way is one of my favorite development houses. They developed the original Crash Bandicoot trilogy, Last of Us, the Uncharted series, has a reputation for producing top flight games. It also has a reputation for working employees to the titties. Naughty Dog co-president Evan Wells and Neil Druckmann recently sat down for a wide-ranging interview with Game Informer, in which both addressed concerns of overwork at the studio. Their answers were, well, let's just say, surely this will blow your mind. Leadership just doesn't seem to get it. Again, the words of Kotaku, not me. In the video game industry, expected overtime is so pervasive that there's actually a term for it. Crunch. I don't think that is necessarily synonymous with the game development world. A lot of different fields have crunch time, where it's almost expected that you're going to be working overtime and whatnot. Sometimes crunch is mandatory. Other times it's a result of contagious peer pressure. You see your boss toiling away till the bar closes or see other developers clocking in on Saturdays. Obviously you're going to feel pressured to put in some extra work. Not everyone. If you're just a kind of employee that just wants to punch the clock and do the bare minimum to get a paycheck and not get fired, then you don't really give a shit. If your coworkers are working overtime, you're like, you dumb bitch, I ain't gonna do that. For the average person that doesn't want to see their coworkers really struggling extra because they're not pulling their weight, yeah, you're going to work overtime. Naughty Dog is particularly prone to crunch. Time and again, the company's games may win awards and sell gazillions of copies. This might be a typo right here, but not at a cost. It should be but at a cost, because the next sentence right here reads as, well, it's at the cost of the health of the employees. Kotaku's been pumping out a lot of grammatical errors here recently. I do feel like the editors get a little bit sloppy with editing these articles sometimes. I don't know how much they get paid, but I feel like they should probably do a more efficient job editing their articles. But at a cost. Following the release of 2016's Uncharted 4, a whopping 70% of non-lead designers departed the studios. That is huge. But what's also huge is down here, the typical industry turnover rate is around 15%. That's still a big turnover rate. 15%. Think about this. At your job, anytime there's a project going on, 15% of people rotate through, i.e. transfer, quit, or get laid off. But 70%, I remember covering that. Uncharted 4 was a doozy. People were getting hospitalized from just working astronomical hours. But again, it didn't seem like it was necessarily Naughty Dog Studios top brass or executives saying, hey, you're going to work these 20-hour nights or you're going to get fired. It almost seemed like people were passionate about the game that they were working on, which is good because Uncharted 4 turned out to be a masterpiece, but they were so passionate about it that they wanted it to succeed and they were putting in a lot of time. Now, whether that's because they're understaffed or just because people wanted to give it their all, I guess, whether you're an audio tech or whether you're a programmer, a code writer, or whatever your position is, people just wanted the game to succeed. Game Informer, who was the actual interviewer, mentioned unionizing, and Wells said, well, I ain't really much considered that. And they kind of took that as, well, he just doesn't really give a shit. I don't really think that's the case. But for Wells to brush off the notion entirely is a disservice to hardworking employees who've clamored for better working conditions and who've pointed out that unionization might be a possible solution.